All right, so here's part D, our final FRQ practice for this week. They asked us to find the limit as x approaches -2 of f of x plus 7 all over e to the 3x plus 6 minus 1. So the first thing I'm always going to do is go ahead and try to use substitution. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in -2. Now f of -2 means I'm going back to this original function here. So f of -2 is going to take some time to calculate. That means I'm multiplying 3 times -2 plus the area under the curve from 0 to -2 of our g graph. Now the first thing I notice here as I'm calculating this f value is that if I'm starting at 0 and ending at -2, I need to flip my limits and change it to subtraction. Here this is -6 minus -2 to 0 of g of t dt. So when we're calculating that last bit of area, starting at 0 and going to -2, that's the area, oops, you can't see what I'm doing. That's the area under the curve right here. I'm running out of colors. Okay, so I can see this is an area of a triangle, 1/2 base times height. The base is a unit of length of 2, and the height is a length of 1. Okay, the 2's cancel. So I get that the value, f of -2, is -7. We had to make sure we plugged in 3 times x and then also did the area under the curve there. So that's -7 plus 7. Here I have an exponential function. -6 plus 6 is 0. E to the 0 power is 1. So we have 0 over 0. Therefore, this is an indeterminate form. And L'Hopital's rule applies. I'm going to go ahead and write it shorthand there so that we can move on to the next part. That means then that we have to take the derivative of the numerator and the denominator separately. The derivative of f of x is just going to be f prime of x. The derivative of 7 is 0, so I don't have to write that. The derivative here in the denominator, e to the 3x plus 6 power, requires the chain rule. So the derivative, we've got, the derivative of the outside with respect to the inside multiplied by the derivative of what's inside. So that's 3. Now I'm going to plug in -2 here. Again, 3 times -2 is -6, plus 6 is 0. E to the 0 power is again 1, but now I'm multiplying by a 3. So this time the denominator stays. So the last thing I need to do is use this f prime function that I have from previous parts of the problem to get f prime of -2. So f prime of -2 is going to be the constant value of 3 plus g of -2. I have to use the graph to find my g values. So I go back here. G of -2 is a value of 1. There it is on the graph. Okay, so this is 4 over 3. Remember to use L'Hopital's rule, you have to say that you're allowed to use it. So a lot of you didn't actually come up with 4/3 correctly when I was scoring your work, but you got the first 2 points because you showed it was 0 divided by 0 and you showed that L'Hopital's rule applied. Awesome. Have a great weekend, guys, and I'm excited to talk to you again on Monday.